Hey kids, here's a tip. Hot pro tip. Don't do blow.
Welcome to episode 229 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here as always. Took a week break.
Yes.
But we're back, and I think we're back better than ever because Neil Fallon is on this podcast.
I mean, what a way to come back.
Yeah. You come back with one of the greatest lyricists on this earth.
Yes.
One of the greatest frontmen from one of the greatest rock and roll bands on this earth. I think that's a good way to take a week off, right?
Yeah, I mean, we, that's the way to do it. We did it.
All right. So we're like patting our own selves on our backs, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
That's okay. Everybody else seems to do it. Why can't we?
Yeah, true.
Fuck them.
Yeah, Neil Fallon is here. We'll be talking to him shortly. But before we do, we need to let you know that we are sponsored every week by MedFarm and DEB Concerts. MedFarm is a dispensary that is located right here in the heartland of Oklahoma at Broken Arrow, the greatest city in Oklahoma. I said it. I'm shunning people right now that aren't from Broken Arrow. No, I'm not really.
Broken Arrow. The land of fast food stores and fast food places and snooty bitches.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Snooty bitches abound.
Oh my God. So many soccer moms that want to see the manager in Broken Arrow.
Yeah. Broken Arrow and Owasso.
Right? Right?
Yeah, just random tangent real quick.
That's fine. We're good with that.
There's a lot of people from this area that listen to us, and there's people from elsewhere. But no matter where you're from, get on Facebook and search Soccer Moms of Broken Arrow and Owasso.
It's white moms of...
Oh, white moms.
White moms of Broken Arrow and Owasso. Or Owasso and Broken Arrow, whatever.
Yeah. Follow that page.
We don't know who runs it, but it's fucking funny as shit.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. And I've told you this before, but one of the better compliments I've had in recent years was whenever Josh Baker asked me, after this thing started blowing up, he's like, "Are you the person behind this page?" So I'm like, well, thank you for thinking
You should take that as a compliment.
Right.
I'm jealous, actually.
But back to the point at hand is MedFarm is located in Broken Arrow. And their address is 24683 East Highway 51. They're not far from Anita Road. It's maybe a quarter mile east of there. You can't miss them. They have a huge selection. And if you get in there and you tell them that we sent you or that you heard about them on this podcast, just mention Thunder Underground. They'll give you a 10% discount. They're also running specials on their stuff all the time. So follow them on Facebook. That's Med, PHARM. You can follow them on Instagram at MedFarmOK. And their website is medfarmok.com. They have a doctor on site every Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And they also have random other times when they do that. So that's why you need to follow their social medias. And the best thing of all is that 30% of the proceeds go to help out no-kill animal shelters. They're helping build those in this area of the state. So that's a huge thing. And we're really happy to have these guys on board as a sponsor.
Definitely. Noble cause.
Definitely. The other sponsor of this podcast is DEB Concerts. They keep bringing in great shows to the Tulsa area, almost always at the IDL Ballroom, but they've branched out a couple times. They had a show at Safari Joe's last year. They recently had a show in the spring at BOK Center, so they've even brought in some arena shows. But they're bringing in mainly rock acts, and they've got some very cool stuff coming. This September, on the 13th, LA Guns will return with Grind opening up.
Hell yeah.
Grind is a very great band. You're going to hear more about here in just a bit. We're going to be talking about something to do with them. But LA Guns has played the IDL a couple times, and they're a great live band. And just as cool, they've been on this podcast, so go check that one out. We like to mention that was one of our favorite ones of this past year for sure.
It definitely was, yeah.
And in October 19th, Last in Line will be making their Tulsa debut, with Fist of Rage opening that show. So that'll be another killer one. Last in Line, if you're not familiar with them, it was started as the 3 remaining members of the original Dio band. Now, unfortunately, one of those 3 has passed on, so now it's 2 of those original members. But they've got an amazing sound that's somewhat reminiscent of that era, but also sounds modern as well. And they, of course, play all those Dio classics live as well. And one Vivian Campbell was on this podcast not too long ago as well.
Of course.
So then going into November, we've got the Iron Maidens and Vixen
Yes.
coming to the Ideal Ballroom. And that show will also feature Down for Five opening up.
Can't wait.
Yeah, that's going to be a great one. Saturday night. You don't want to miss it. Vixen is a great live band. Have not seen the Iron Maidens, but I've seen them online on YouTube, and I've always heard cool things about them, so that's exciting to see. And Down for Five is always great, and they are working on a new album as we speak.
Yes.
So I'm sure that'll see the light of day by then. If not, you'll get at least a taste of it, I'm sure.
Yep.
So can't wait for that. But yeah, all that stuff is brought to you by DEB Concerts. All those shows will be hosted by Eddie Trunk, and all of them will be at the Ideal Ballroom.
That's right.
So a huge thank you to Doug Burgess and DEB Concerts.
That's right.
All right. Well, I mentioned Grind.
Well, first off, something that just came up in my head before we move on. Going back to the Broken Arrow thing, we don't mean to disparage Broken Arrow, but we've lived here all of our goddamn lives, so we have a right to say whatever we want. So, just don't think we're just looking in.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
I mean, we were there at the beginning. We had the fucking BA jackets with our last names on it when we were kids. So no one can take that away from us. And we have Parkland Pioneers, a Haskell Hawk. You fucking know it. So we have every right to crack a couple jokes about our hometown.
Yeah. Of course. Hey, I still live there now.
That's right.
You don't anymore, but it's all good.
It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So someone else who lives in Broken Arrow is Grind. Well, not all of them, at least.
Not all of them.
CJ.
That's right. I don't know if he's going to be okay with you saying that on the podcast. You did anyways.
I didn't give anyone his address.
Just saying.
I'm sure he said before online where he lives. I don't know.
Doubt it. Not many of us do. But go ahead, Trent.
You have. You said, look, I just moved to Tulsa. Here's my picture of my house.
Okay. Well, not everyone can be me, and that's probably a good thing. Okay.
All right. So Grind is having their CD release party this Saturday night right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Shrine. Venue Shrine. It'll be $10. The album, Leaders of the Free World. You can grab it while you're there. It'll have a bunch of great stuff on it. We actually debuted the song Senseless on our podcast with Mike D from Killswitch Engage about 2 weeks ago, which was very cool. Big honor to be able to do that. Can't wait to hear this full disc. They'll be playing the Shrine. They will also have Stellar Ascent, Driver, Crashing Cranes, and Scattered Hamlet on this bill as well.
Solid bill.
Yeah, that's great.
It is. It really is. I mean,
just take a couple of these bands, put them together, and it's solid. You've got all this together. That's badass.
It's going to be big fun.
I mean, that's the easiest way to say it.
That's right.
Or Mike Deep Chillo's on the bill, so we'll say it's badass.
There you go.
All right.
I like that. It's going to be big fun, everyone, as Scatterbrain would say.
Wow. Finally, a Scatterbrain reference on this podcast.
Pretty sure I made one before.
I feel like, yeah.
Because I know we talked about, hey, dude, don't call me dude.
Yeah, you did.
We should get Tommy Christ on the podcast. Wonder if he's still around.
Like tonight, when you're done with whatever you're doing this evening.
Okay.
You're just sitting around looking on your phone, see if you can find his contact.
I will.
And we'll make that happen.
We'll get him on the show.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
Jesus, Tangent City again. I'm sorry. Grind, Driver, Scattered Hamlet, Stellar Ascent, Crashing Cranes. Gonna be a great fucking show. You guys need to come out. Stay for all the bands. It's gonna be a barn burner for sure.
Of course. So we're gonna play some music now.
Let's do it.
And it would make sense if we hype this show, right?
Yeah.
We just played one of Grind's new songs. So now we're gonna play a song from Scattered Hamlet, who's also on this bill, who we've had on this podcast 4 times now, I believe.
Many times.
Yeah. 3 times full band. 1 time Adam Joad by himself. And you never know. Here in the near future, maybe again.
Yeah. We might be working on it. We might not. You just don't know, people.
Yeah. You never know till it happens.
That's right.
All right. Let's get into this right now. Here's Scattered Hamlet with Green Bastard.
Just for all the friends that we made and we lost along the way. Ain't that right, Johnny Crash? You goddamn right it is shown. Get some. Green bastard son. down. Won't be forgiven and I won't tell lies. A dead man's hand holds no alibi. Well, flames are rising, it's raised my neck, but I ain't met no motherfucker who has broken me yet. Got in some fights and I broke some laws. Knocked to my knees where I had to crawl. Not trying to get rich and I might not live. I come alive with a guitar band. Bring it back to the sun. Time said that we live like trash. Never to our face, but we don't want their ass. Shoot and slay with some gravel and spin. Years of kin with some country grit. Got in some fights and I broke some laws. Knocked to my knees where I had to crawl. Might strike it rich and I might not land. I come alive with a guitar band. Listen, jabronis, I'm gonna break your back and make you humble. Got in some fights and I broke some laws. Knocked to my knees where I had to crawl. Might strike it rich and I might not live. I come alive with a guitar band. Green bastard.
Green Bastard from Scattered Hamlet from their album Swamp Rebel Machine. Kick-ass album. And that's just one of the many kick-ass songs from that band.
Yes, and that's just one of the kick-ass bands that you will see this weekend at the Shrine.
Right?
Because you're coming, you're going.
That's right. If you have not...
Whatever the fuck. I don't
You're
know.
coming, you're going.
Fuck me. Whatever.
Right. Yeah, if you've never seen Scattered Hamlet live, can't stress enough how good this band is.
Yeah,
It's a sight to behold.
of course.
Yeah. As is Grind, Crashing Crane's driver in Stellar Ascent. So, yes, Grind CD release party, Leaders of the Free World, Saturday night, August 10th, the Shrine in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right, so Clutch, right? Not much else to get into from the past couple weeks, I guess.
I mean, they're one of our favorite bands. So to have Neil Fallon on it was insane.
Yeah.
And just the way it came together, was like
Right.
just kind of last minute.
Yeah.
We had there's no time to go, oh shit. It was just, so, and those are the best times. Those are the best ways for it to happen. So it was just, a whirlwind, but it was a great honor.
Right. Yeah, Clutch put out this album, Book of Bad Decisions, last October. And around that time, it was actually not long after it came out, I think, we had Tim Sultan.
Yeah.
When they came to Tulsa, it was the Clutch 7 Dust Tour. We had the opportunity to talk to Tim Sultan, bring him on the podcast. And this is we talked about on that one, we've talked about in multiple other episodes when we talk about Clutch, that just how great this band is, whether it be on record or whether it be live, whatever. They're just one of the most underrated bands there is.
Yeah.
Because they've always got recognition, but it's kind of like, that like they were on tour with Seven Dust. It's one of those bands that they got the recognition, but never got over that hump of being like massive or something.
Yeah.
But Clutch has been so good for the past 25 years, putting out albums that are consistent. There's not an album in the catalog that I couldn't listen to, or I wouldn't want to listen to. So that's rare with a band that's been around 25 years.
Yeah, they never had to. They've never had to do a Saint Anger or a Slang or a Risk, but at the same time, they don't repeat themselves and they don't fall into one formula.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you want in a band. They don't sound like anybody else. And so, I really, really respect a consistent, steady build. And that's what they've done since they've started in the early 90s. And, they're not washed up. They're not pinned to a certain decade. They're really one of the genuine working man's bands of our generation, so they're kind of like the Ramones were or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could go on and they don't fall off. Book of Bad Decisions is great, just like everything else is. I don't know if it's just hard to believe there might be somebody out there that's like, nah, I don't really dig them.
Right.
That doesn't compute for me.
Yeah. And it's one of those bands you see live, it's so stripped down. It's just them and their amps and like the stage banner. But it's still like...
But it's still one of the most amazing fucking things. Yeah.
You see them repeatedly and it's never old. I mean, they're one of those bands, one of the few bands that change the set list every single night.
Yeah.
And there's some bands that'll do that with there's a rotation of 4 or 5 songs, but Clutch is one of those bands where it's every single night. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Which is pretty rare. But even if they weren't doing that, if they were like an Iron Maiden or someone where it's like, here's a set list and you're going to see it for the rest of this tour, I'd still see them 10 times because it's going to be fucking great every time.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, I was working at this country festival this past week in Minnesota, and I was wearing a Clutch shirt, and I was walking somewhere, and a dude that was, I think he was working on the stage like a stagehand, and he yelled, Clutch. It's one of the most underrated bands in the world. I'm like, you're exactly right.
That's it. So, that's right. Yeah. Found one of your own there.
Yeah, one of our own.
That's right.
So to mention here, this is coming out here early August. At the very end there of July, last Friday, Volbeat released their new album.
Yes.
And it had a song on there called Die to Live that also featured Neil Fallon.
Yes.
And I don't think, from what I know, it was kind of not pre-announced, was it?
Yeah, I think I saw a post the day the day the album came out.
Yeah, so it wasn't even
an album yet. It
wasn't even one of those things where it was like, hey, it also features a song with Neil Fallon. Like they kind of held that under wraps, I guess.
Yeah, under wraps. So, but yeah, he's on there. It's a great song, and you definitely know when Neil comes in. So that's just another added thing.
You mean him and Michael Paulson don't sound similar? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
I always got them too confused.
Oh my God. You need to get your ears checked then.
But no, I mean, this song just sounds like a classic Volbeat song. And to hear when you think, how is Neil Fallon's voice going to work on that?
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, it changes it dynamic a little bit because of the music that's behind him, but it's similar in vein to that song they did on their last album, Black Rose. Is that right? It's called Black Rose or something Rose with Danko Jones.
I think it was Black Rose. Jesus, I'm losing it.
Yeah, and it was a similar style of song where, they rotated vocals and it was that kind of sped up, but not super heavy style of, because Volbeat's got a few different styles of things they do, but it was a good fit, a nice surprise because it's not something you expect to hear. And, I dig it. Yeah. I can imagine there's some people out there that have Clutch fans that might not because Volbeat's a polarizing band, but I'm on the side of people that I'm not afraid to admit how much I fucking love Volbeat.
Yeah, I mean, no, their new album's great, and we'll talk about that in a future episode. But this is definitely a great song, and Neil added a lot to it.
Yeah. And something else to point out is recently we put a video on YouTube where we talked about the 2 songs that Clutch has released this summer for the Weathermaker Vault series.
Yes.
They put out a cover of Magic and a cover of Precious and Grace. And both of these are excellent songs. And they had been playing Magic live up until the show that we saw in Tulsa. They played Precious and Grace, and that was the first time they played it, I think.
Yeah. It's called Evil.
Why do I keep saying Magic?
I don't know.
I know it's Evil.
You need to, it's all that magic together and you've been playing.
Yeah, that's got to be it. Holy shit.
I tell you, quit doing that shit.
What am I thinking of?
Full shit.
I don't even know where. I'm trying to compute like why that's in my head, but I can't do it right now. I'll think of it later.
It's okay.
It's all good. I'm not even going to erase this. I'm going to leave it in there for everybody, everybody to hear my stupidity.
Oh my God.
But Evil is a great fucking song. I know that. I've heard it. We talk about it on that YouTube video.
Yeah.
So check that out. You know, there's no reason to really delve back into that when you can go listen to it there.
That's right.
But we didn't mention, because we actually recorded the Mike D Killswitch podcast before that show, before the show that night. Mm-hmm. So we didn't really get to talk about that show, which we've seen both those bands multiple times. We just talked about how great Clutch is live,
mm-hmm.
but Clutch's set list that night was one of the best ones I've seen.
Oh man, it was nuts. Mob Goes Wild. I mean, shit, dude. I
mean, to get Willie Nelson, which I know they've been playing, but it's not every single night. That's one of my favorite songs of theirs. They played, there's a couple other things that kind of surprised me, but now I'm, of course, drawing a blank because I didn't have notes with me, but there was like 5 or 6 songs on that set list that I was surprised about. And then, of course, they did Precious and Grace, and you were, I know, pretty happy about that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that was a, yeah, I mean, just the whole night was great. I would like to extend a big, huge, hearty fuck you to the guy that was sitting behind me and Melissa, because he was obviously drunk and he was obviously not a Killswitch Engage fan, because after each song he'd make a big old fart noise. And like he would complain during the songs. He'd scream out, "You guys all have the same haircut," and just stupid shit the whole time. We ended up moving because this guy was such an obnoxious fucker. So if you're out there, sir, eat a dick.
I'm pretty sure he's listening to this podcast right now.
Yeah, well, I hope. So, anyways, but other than that, the night was spectacular. Both bands turned in great sets. And Cro-Mags were fucking awesome too. I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, it was really cool to see them.
Oh man. And so, I mean, just one of those shows, man. It was a great show.
I was thinking later on, and that reminded me when you said that about that guy yelling that we should have asked Mike D if he's ever felt pressured to shave his head or have a mohawk.
Well, yeah.
Because there's 4 guys in the band that are either mohawked or shaved head.
Yeah.
And here he is, like a hippie with long hair. What the fuck?
I know. He's got to be different.
Yeah.
And we got him on the show.
That's right.
Last episode. Go check it out.
228.
That's right.
All right. Well, I think it's time to quit talking and just let No Fallon do it.
Okay.
All right. Here's No Fallon from Clutch.
It's a complete coincidence that I'm trying to be wearing it today.
Well, talk about you guys doing this tour with Killswitch Engage. I know you guys have toured with a lot of metal bands throughout the years. Do you enjoy playing to fan bases that might not be a Clutch fan? I mean, half the crowd, possibly.
You can't always preach to your own choir, It's like we could do our headline shows, and it's pretty much a gimme. But to gain new fans, especially lifelong-term fans, you have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. We've been doing it like that since 1992. It's not easy being the opening act for something like Iron Maiden because the front row doesn't give a damn.
Right.
But, somewhere in the back, there's somebody who gets turned on to the band. And we did a country festival night before last, and we might as well have been at Kennedy's. But some way, someone's going to like it, so that's why we're there.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, whether it's Dropkick Murphys or, Seven Dust or whatever, that's a good point. That's great.
Yeah. I think in the 90s, it was one of the problems with our major labels is that they didn't know how to market us. And we were always kind of like too different. We weren't metal enough, and when we would go with other bands, we were too metal or too proggy or too different. But that I would prefer it that way, than just being kind of lost in the shuffle.
What do you think that's kind of added to your longevity from it?
I hope so. I think, people like the band for a very specific reason. And also playing live, I think those people are much more dedicated to music than just a person who just is listening to the morning drive time radio. There's a level of involvement that people come to live music that you don't find in other formats, I think.
Right. Well, this Weathermaker Vault series, how many more songs are to be released? Is it like a thing where you each got to pick a...
Well, we recorded a batch of them.
Okay.
Because we're not really ready to do another full length of new material because Book of Bad Decisions isn't even a year old yet. Yeah. But, these days, people's their attention spans are shorter. You got to keep them engaged, to use a word I hate using. Compared to other genres like hip hop or EDM, rock and roll is still very traditional in the way it delivers music and the physical copy. Mm-hmm. And I like full length records, and I'm 47. I'm just a product of my age. But this younger group of listeners, that I think they're okay with getting it on their phone or on their computer. So the Vault series is sort of like a way for us to test what it's like to deliver stuff digitally. Maybe eventually we'll put them all on a vinyl record for people like myself. But it's since we are our own label, it's sort of us doing an experiment. And it was also just fun to keep busy, honestly.
Yeah. Did you guys kind of come to the table with your own song you wanted to do, or is it kind of a collective thing? These songs have been floating around in your...
It was basically just us sitting around, like in a dressing room, or I don't remember where it was, like just kind of offering up songs. Like, what about this song? What about that song? And those were the songs that kind of everyone said, "Oh, let's give it a whirl." And we'll be releasing some more. Pretty much to the end of the summer, or the end of the year rather. I was just speaking to John Paul about what we're going to record for the new batch. We don't really know yet. Yeah. We're trying to figure that out.
Well, Precious and Grace, the ZZ Top cover. I listened to your version, and then I went back and listened, and I just listened to Trey Songz not that long ago, but it didn't piece together until I heard them both. It's like, I thought, wow, you guys doing ZZ Top, and then I heard it, I was like, that makes perfect sense, and it's just cool how that intertwined, and I saw, the spark of influence, and
they're
really cool.
They're a huge influence on us. I mean, I grew up listening to ZZ Top, as did everyone else in the band, and it's one of those few bands that I still listen to. I mean, there's only a handful of Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, ZZ Top that. From when I was a little kid, hearing it on the radio, that I'd listen to by choice still,
Yeah.
So, you can't overstate their influence on this band for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, as far as lyrics go, I mean, you're well known for having some amazing lyrics. Like, is that something, are you always writing lyrics? Because I know I've seen interviews where you've talked about, having a story and sitting down and writing it, but... Are there lines that run through your head and you keep a notepad or?
Yeah, I do. I find it's sort of like exercise. Like if you don't do it regularly, you can't expect to be able to do it, on demand. So I mean, I jot stuff down, and maybe it ends up in a song, maybe not. I mean, Book of Bad Decisions, the song, is an example. I wrote all those lyrics without music. And tried it in different songs, and it never worked until we wrote that particular bit of music. I think half the battle is just being a good listener. Always, keeping your ear open, eavesdropping on people's conversations, or that's a weird sign over there. What the hell does that mean? And write it down. I've always liked the escapism of there's other things in other genres that has that as well, but I'm fortunate that I get to hear the music first and close my eyes and generate the movie in the head. And people have different interpretations of it. That's great. I'm not certainly an authority on UFOs and riding elephants. But I like to talk about
it. Like who do you think the best lyricist of all time is, music-wise?
That's a toughie, but the first name that comes to mind is Tom Waits. He's every time I hear his songs, my jaw drops. The other few names that come to mind after him are Nick Cave, Leonard Cohen, PJ Harvey is awesome too. She's really good. But as far as consistently, Tom Waits is probably my favorite.
Well, switching gears a little bit, you guys have the same lineup for so long, and what it takes to keep that going and keep it together. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's times where you guys just want to get away, so.
Sure. Yeah. But, it's like a 4-way marriage. Not to get too creepy sounding, but everyone at this point understands, you got to give each other enough room, and be cognizant that you're just 25% of something that's hopefully a song greater than its parts. You also got to be able to eat humble pie every once in a while. You got to be able to laugh at yourself, not take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Even though we take it very seriously, you got to roll with the punches. It's like anything else in life. There's good times and bad times, and I think at this point we realize, making a living, in a band is kind of a rare thing. It is a rare thing, particularly in this day and age, and we've become very defensive about it. We're very grateful about it. So anything that seems like that would compromise that, we just banish to the ends of the earth. Try to keep it as simple as possible. And, don't do cocaine. That's a terrible idea. Don't do it.
That's just one simple key.
Yeah. Hey kids, here's a tip. Hot pro tip. Don't do blow.
Right on. Well, also to that, not cocaine, but the other stuff. Picking a set list now. And then I know you guys changed it up, how do you pick the songs and how do you maintain a lot of that in your head and in your fingers, to play it?
Well, by the end of a tour, there's probably 50 to 60 songs that we could probably pick from.
Yeah.
And if someone's going to want to put a song on a set list that we haven't played in some time, say, let's do it for sound check, maybe a day or two ahead of time and do it 2 or 3 times. It's good. I think it's good to be a bit intimidated by the set list. If you're looking at it, you're kind of like, well, that's the same set list we've been doing for the past 3 months. 1, I would go crazy.
Yeah.
And 2, I think that's when daydreaming starts, and that's when the mistakes happen. But if you're engaged because you're a little bit unsure of yourself, I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Well, I saw something a while back where you had said that you were thinking you guys were talking about pre-recording some old songs. Are you talking about first, second album, or is this just stuff throughout the career?
All over the place.
Oh, okay. So it's nothing specific.
No. There's 2 reasons for that. One, I know we can all play it better. A lot of our early stuff was written in the studio and then recorded that day or a couple days later. We've learned since it's much better to write the music, play it on the road for weeks, if not months. Because if you're trying to track it and all you're doing is trying to remember the parts, you're really not performing it.
Yeah.
And I know I can sing circles around a lot of those songs. Also, in the 90s, those records are owned by other record labels. And they put it out on vinyl. We'll never get them back. We'll never own them. So we also were thinking about just re-recording it and owning it. I mean, there are compositions, but the actual recording rights belong to someone else.
Right.
And that ticks us off.
Yeah.
So why not do it again? It's our music. Who's going to say no?
And this time around, it's all yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know why other bands don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I remember that when Dee Snider said they did that just so they could sell it to commercials, and he said he's made the most money in his career since he threw the
I didn't know that. You know, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I mean, like the versions that were on that Tampax commercial and on SpongeBob were re-recorded versions. So
Are they?
Yeah.
That's smart. You know, if you own your own label or own your own music, you can make more money selling 10 copies than you would 100,000 with a major label. To be honest, I mean that's not the real amount, but it's an example.
Yeah. I gotta imagine doing that stuff all on your own has to be a little harder, but the payoff has to be better.
It's like anything else in life. More work reaps more reward. There's more risk. You can't blame anybody but yourself if you fuck up.
Yeah.
But that's being self-employed, like in any industry. You know, if you own your own business, it's on you, and that's a good thing. But I think a lot of bands still to this day have this mindset that they want to be coddled, and just kind of have a patron take care of them. And I know bands that still brag about signing multi-album contracts as if that's a good thing, and I don't get it. Why would you do it? It's 2019, not 1974. But hey, rock and roll is a slow-moving beast.
That's right. Well, I probably know the answer to this because you've never done it that I know of. You've never played an album in its entirety, right?
We have.
Oh, yeah?
We did self-titled, maybe 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Because to me, that seems like it's kind of against the vibe you guys put off live.
You know, we did. People were asking us to do that, and we were kind of dragging our feet. Finally said, fuck it, let's just try it. And I guess it's cool to talk about, but somehow it didn't really translate for us, like on stage. It was cool to say we did it, but I just felt like we were playing the album, and there wasn't sometimes you listen to a record, sounds great, but it doesn't necessarily translate to a giant PA with the dynamics of whatever happens on stage. It's not to say we won't do it again, but it's not on our to-do list at the moment.
Well, we had Tim on the podcast last year.
Okay.
And I asked this kind of a dumb question, but I asked him, based off your lyrics on how to shake hands, you had to put someone on the $50 and $100 bill. Who would you put? So, do you have an answer for that?
Maybe Nikola Tesla. That'd be a good one. He doesn't get a fair shake. Let's see. So that would be a musician, a comedian, a scientist. SpongeBob. But if you wanted to go like a real human being and had to keep it American, we don't have any ladies yet, so let's put Bonnie Raitt on there. She's kind of a badass.
That would be cool. I think that.
I like that answer.
Good answer.
I don't know why she came to mind. Maybe it's because I'm in Oklahoma and I'm thinking about canes and country music.
Nice.
Well, based off the stuff you've written about and a lot of things, I would assume, are you a fan of the show Westworld? Because that seems like something you would...
I loved the movie when I was a kid, and I started watching the show. I'm not a person who is very good at consecutively watching shows. I kind of got confused after a while. I didn't retain what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
It's beautifully shot. I mean, it looks incredible, but as far as the plot arc, it just kind of got too long for me. Same with Walking Dead. It was like, okay, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I want a plot arc has to have a beginning and an end. And just because it's making buttloads of cash doesn't mean you should keep going.
Right.
Like Game of Thrones, I know people kind of dog the ending of it. It's like, well, they didn't have to end it. They could have kept milking this. but I respect and like the fact that they said enough and then put it away. But I love the philosophical questions that Westworld brings up about what is being self-aware, what makes you human, what is a soul, can AI ever be truly self-aware? I mean, those are all very important questions to ask, particularly right now.
Cool, man. We appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Awesome.
Cool. Let's get out of this hot box.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go, Neil Fallon of Clutch. A huge thank you to Doug Weber of New Ocean Media. And of course, a huge thank you to Neil Fallon for taking the time out of his day when Clutch was here in Tulsa to talk to us.
That was rad.
That's one to seriously knock off the list of, that is, one of the people we like really high hope that one day we could get on this podcast.
And we did, yes.
Yeah, so,
yep.
An extreme pleasure to make that happen. And like we mentioned early on, you're a Clutch fan. Tim Salt from Clutch was on here on episode 194. So go back and check that one out if you missed it. It is also very cool. So we've only got 2 guys to go till we complete
That's right.
The Clutch. What's the word? Can't say trifecta. Quadfecta?
I don't know. Make something up.
You know what we should do is play a clip right now. Because I asked, same thing that I asked Tim Salt about the $20 and the 5 note.
Yeah.
So we can play that clip right now. This is what Tim Salt said.
$100 bill and a $50 bill. Let's see. How about George Carlin would probably have to be the other comedian that was on there.
Yes.
Yeah, we agree.
And I don't know, I might throw Dwayne Allman up on the 100.
All right, there you go. That's what Tim Salt said. Yeah, huge honor. If you have not checked out Book of Bad Decisions that came out in 2018, you're doing yourself a huge disservice.
Yes.
And I think that you should correct that right now. Check that out and check out every other damn Clutch album because they're all amazing as hell.
Ultimate rock and roll.
That's right. But yeah, if it's your first time listening or you've only been listening for a short while, we appreciate it. And we'd love if you checked out some past episodes. Tons of people from different genres of rock and metal have been on this podcast, including Gene Simmons from Kiss, Bruce Kulick, formerly of Kiss, John Connolly of Sevendust, Dave Ellefson of Megadeth, Chris Broderick, formerly Megadeth. We've had on Vivian Campbell of Def Leppard and Last in Line. We've had on both Mike Dean and Reed Mullen from Corrosion Conformity. We've had on guys from, if you like some 80s rock, we've had on guys from Dokken, Warrant, Tesla, Bullet Boys, LA Guns, motherfucking Junkyard.
What the fuck?
Yeah. You gotta add some fucks in when you're talking about Junkyard.
You goddamn right.
That like blasted people's ears, but I don't give a shit. Because I'm drinking my blues again.
So that's what we do here. You're going to get a lot of variety. We run the gamut. If you're rock and metal, we're going to grab you. So,
or if you're Shooter Jennings, we're going to grab you.
We even did that. Ian Moore, we did that,
If we like it, we're going to try to make it happen.
By God.
I still am convinced that one day before he leaves this earth, Willie Nelson will be on this podcast.
I hope so.
It's just part of me. I just really think that's going to happen. I think that'll happen before Slash.
You never know.
I don't know. There's something about it.
You never know.
Just putting that out there. I've long thought it, but I finally said it out loud.
You put it out there in the ether.
That's right.
Okay.
Because that's how you got us Vivian Campbell recently, by putting it out there in the ether. And here we are.
Look at that.
Now it's just part of our history.
That's right.
But yeah, all those episodes and 228 other ones can be found on soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground. You can also find them on iTunes, Google Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Mixcloud, most anywhere podcasts are heard except for Spotify's dumbass. You can also listen to us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 1027WSNR.com. Hey, they're not going to add us so I can call them a dumbass. I use them all the time for music.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah. No, I fucking agree. Fuck them.
You can also go to thethunderunderground.com, listen to everything there. You can find all our socials there, so follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also, Yeah, you can't follow us on Grindr anymore. We shut that shit down. It's getting a little too much to handle. Too much to handle.
You were way too active on that, Trent.
Yeah, I know. I was letting all the other legitimate social medias like fall to the wayside.
Wow.
So I had to shut that shit down.
Okay.
But yeah. Follow us on all that great stuff. Hit like, subscribe, share. All that helps out big time. We appreciate it. I don't know if we got anything else to talk about this episode.
I think that's about it.
All right. Until next time.
Calling people on other islands like basically rednecks, and it was their own damn fault leading to the water. So let's just talk about Puerto Rico.
Right.
Yeah. Good times.
Thunder Underground, y'all.